I didn't know how to turn that off. That was pretty exciting because that's the first time I've done that. So very excited to have you guys here. I see a couple of you are already here in the chat. And as you know, I want you to make sure you're putting your comments in there, your questions. I'm so glad all of you are here today. I do have another special guest. Now, I know you guys liked my last special guest, who was Audra Lambert. That was a lot of fun. She's super nice and she's a fantastic agent. But this time I have somebody else, somebody who's very special to me. You guys may know her. My daughter, Lisa. Lisa's here today. Hi.
Hi, everyone. I know so many of you. I recognize all these names in the comments.
So for those of you who do not know, Lisa is my daughter in Chicago, and we work on our team in Chicago together. And she also helps me run my referral business. So on the back end, she knows every single person who has sent in a request for an agent. Just like I do, but Lisa really knows all of you. So Lisa, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so excited.
This is going to be fun today.
That will.
All right. So today we're going to just chat. I've got some stories. I've got some thoughts. I've got some teaching things, and you guys are going to give me your comments. And Lisa, you're just going to step in whenever you want. Great. So the title of this episode was called Real Seller Stories, kind of like real seller horror stories. But Lisa's been around me running my business for a long time. So she might have learned some of these, heard some of these already, maybe.
Probably
Lisa,
all of them.
I don't know. I don't know if you know this one. This is the first one. Do you know this one?
I don't know. Well, if not, I'll be reacting with everybody else.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So this is a story. This is a story from like 3 years when I was a third-year agent in. And this is one of the reasons why I feel like there are a lot of really bad agents out there. Not that I was really bad, but I just didn't know. And that's the whole thing about agents, is that I really want them to have a lot of transactions, because if they've had a lot of transactions, they've had something like this happen to them, or they've done something stupid like I did. So I was about 3 years in the business, and I was doing great. I had a lot of business, and I had a brand new listing. Super excited. I was going to have a broker open house. For those of you that don't know, broker open houses usually occur on during the weekday, and brokers will come by and take a look at the house, maybe send clients. So this seller had already been on the market 2 other times with 2 other agents and was very unhappy with them. And that was partly because the price was too high. I was a little too new in the business to be able to get them to price it lower. So I just thought, open houses, marketing, I'm going to do it all. So I ended up saying I'm going to have an open house, and it was a Wednesday. I'm on my way to the open house, got my signs, got my coffee, and I am driving like probably a minute away from the house. And I realize, oh my God, I forgot to tell the sellers that we were having a broker open house. Lisa, have you heard the story?
Yeah, I have heard this story. This is like my nightmare. This is why I like triple check that I have communicated with everybody, because this scares me.
So, and you know who this is too. I think you know, we're not going to say who it is, but I was friendlier with the wife than the husband, and the husband was really kind of mean. He was really kind of a jerk. And so I called the wife, and she was at work, and she's like, oh my God, when is it? I said like 10 minutes.
Like right now.
She goes, well, you have to call him and tell him I'm not calling him. And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, well, will you just kind of maybe call? And then maybe I can follow up. She's like, fine, I'll call. She calls him as I'm probably literally pulling up to the house. And I'm like, this is horrible, because I'd already put in the computer, right? It was a brand new listing in the computer. I'm walking up the steps to the house, and this guy's a jerk, really, like kind of a jerk. He wasn't really a jerk to me yet at this point, but he was difficult. And he throws open the door, and he comes out, and he's in literally his boxer underwear and a robe and like an undershirt. And he's like, what the F is wrong with you? And I was like, oh my God. And I mean, what do? You literally just stand there and just are like, I am so sorry. I mean, what do you say, right? And so I said, well, I can cancel it, meaning the agents would come and I would just probably sit outside telling me we weren't going to have it. He's like, no, forget it, but you have to help me clean up. So and that was like seriously the least I could do. And so I went through the house and had to pick up all the kids' rooms and make all the beds in the house. And he was so mad. Rightfully so. What do you
That's a
think,
funny
Lise?
story. That's a funny story. Yeah. Yeah. I can relate to the just having to stand there and just take it.
Right? I mean, you
Yeah.
do. And rightfully so. But here's the thing I say is that this is why you want an experienced agent, because most experienced agents have done stupid stuff like this. And I always say I learned something new on every single transaction. And so on that transaction, I learned to set a calendar invite. Now I always send calendar invites to everybody. My team sends them to everybody for every single appointment. And we do that, don't we, Lise?
We do. I do
We
that
do.
for everything now in
Well,
my
this is
life.
why. This is why.
This is why.
Put some pants on. I felt really bad. No, he could have done whatever he wanted. I felt really bad. So, okay, that was my first story. I've got some good stories and a couple teaching things too that we're going to help this. So, do you know this story?
This one's crazy. This one's crazy. Yeah. People are
Okay.
gonna like this.
So here's the thing about being a real estate agent is that we know everything. We do.
No, we
We
don't.
do. We know everything. Lisa went to a house, I don't know, a couple months ago. She was there for an appointment. And when she got there, she rang the bell and then the son opened the door. And what did he do when he saw you?
Oh, that listing appointment.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the door was open, the storm door was closed, but the big door was open, so I could see through the house. And I ring the doorbell a couple times, and I'm like standing there with a smile. I'm like ready to go on in, and I could see the son walking over to me, and he was on like crutches, so it took him a while to get to the front door. So I'm standing there waiting, smiling, and he slammed the door right in my face. And I was like, maybe I'm at the wrong house. And so I turn around, I walk away, and then I text the guy who I'm supposed to meet, and he's like, "Oh, that was my son. He doesn't want to sell the house."
But he was like a grown man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was in his 20s for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So and she told me that, and I'm like, well, yeah, that type of stuff happens. So
yeah, you just laugh it off though. And we got the listing. So
we did. And it was a great client that we had. So this was a while ago too. And I went to a house. So I'd gone to the house like it was a Tuesday for a listing appointment. And he said, okay, come back tomorrow to sign the agreement. And this is before we did it digitally. And so I got back to the house. I was dressed in like heels and I was kind of fancy. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. So I ring the bell and nobody came to the door. And then I rang the bell again. And then this guy comes to the door and he's like bleeding from his head. And like, he's like talking like gobbledygook to me. Like I literally have no idea what he's saying, but now he's like bleeding and I don't know where it's coming from. And he was single. So he was divorced. So it was just him. And I don't know this guy really well. So I kind of back up and I like look at the address and I'm like, wait, I was here yesterday, right? Like I'm here, right? This is the right house. And he like can't understand me. And so I'm like, okay, I know this is the right house. I take him and I sit him down at the kitchen table and I'm like, are you okay? And he just was not comprehending me. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. And then he like pointed to the bedroom. I went in the bedroom. His pillow was like covered in blood. His bed was like covered in blood. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I had to call the ambulance and I don't know this guy. And the ambulance shows up. We can't communicate. And he's trying to ask me all this information. I'm like, I literally do not know this guy at all. Like, I don't know him at all. And so they took him away in the ambulance and left his dog there. And now I have to take his dog. Like a neighbor knocked on the door and she's like, oh, if you need some help, I live around the street corner. And I'm like, okay. So now I'm in my heels and I'm walking this dog, like seriously, 1/4 mile to find this woman's house so I could leave the dog there. Now, I did get the listing, but we never talked about what happened. I didn't know if he was dead. Like he didn't get back to me for like 5 days. And I finally got a hold of him. He's like, oh yeah, everything's fine. And I was like, oh,
Oh my God.
that
Wow.
was you. You remember that one? That's when you were
I've heard
a
that
lot
one a lot.
younger.
Yeah, I've heard that one a lot. That's a good
Okay, good. So I've got a few more. We got a couple comments in here. We have some people in here that we know and love all the time.
one.
Donna, we listed our house in Spring Hill, Tennessee, sold in 10 days, no contingency, no for asking, dream come true. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
Congratulations.
Yep, absolutely. And she said that we referred our agent to us. She is great. And we love getting those notes back, Lise. Don't you love seeing those notes from people when they're
Yeah.
like, we're so happy?
Yeah, especially if because when they submit the questionnaires, like we get a lot of information about them. And so it's nice, like, especially if we hear that you're struggling, to hear that we've really helped you. Like, we really care about it a lot.
We
So
do really. I mean, we really care. This is not just like where we're shooting out agents for you. We really care about you, and we are available to have conversations with as well. I do
even if you
talk
don't
to.
choose our agents, or like even if you didn't request agents from us, like you can just email us and ask us any questions you have about anything, really. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay, I'm going to give you another story. Do you guys like the stories? Because this is my most
I
difficult.
like this.
You like this one? This was horrible. This is
Yeah,
horrible.
well, it's horrible. Yeah, but I like hearing them.
Okay, so I had this buyer referral from a friend of mine who referred a really, really big buyer. Like she had a budget of like $6 million. And I mean, it was, that's a lot of money, right? And so she was also very high intensity. Wanted to see a lot of homes over 2 full days. Oh my gosh. And I got sick. I was sick the day before I went. And so I was like so sick. Those 2 days I was showing as well. It was terrible. It was so painful. But we ended up finding this house and it was like a $5 million home. And she was just on top of me all the time, like just texting me and calling me. And I felt every time she called, I felt very stressed. Like, I always say that you gravitate towards the agents that you're sort of like. Like I work with clients who are kind of like me, so I don't get a lot of clients who are really, really high strung. Very, very, I mean, I would say I'm type A, but I'm more like a calm down type A a little bit. Like this is very, very high strung. So I don't get a lot of people like that. But she wrote this offer and it was a cash offer. She put $250,000 down and she ended up changing her mind. She ended up changing her mind that she wanted the house. She decided she did not want the house. And I was like, well, you can't just decide you don't want the house. And she's like, that's okay. She literally gave up $250,000 earnest money. That's like the only person I've ever worked with. There's another one that I worked with that actually had to give up earnest money. That was bad. So now we have to go out and find another house. So I'd already spent seriously like 20 hours in houses, searching them, calling agents, all this stuff. So now we have to go out and do it all over again. And I remember she was so intense and she was like yelling at me after one house. She's like, this isn't a house that I'm interested in at all. I got in the car and I called my husband and I'm literally crying. And like that has not happened in a very, very long time. Very long time. Lisa, you remember that client? You were in college at that time, I think.
I don't remember when it happened, but I heard this story a couple weeks ago for the first time.
Yeah. So she literally gave her money back and then we had to buy a new house and which she put more earnest money down on. And then she sold it a year later. Not with me. Not with me, which was good, which
God,
is
right?
really good. So, okay, Susie's saying, my granddaughter just got her license a few months ago. She's 19, so proud of her. She wants us to sell our house and buy another one. Okay, Susie, she needs to be with a team or a partner on this transaction. You have to make sure that somebody brand new has literally no idea what they're doing. So if she's working with a team member of some sort or somebody in her brokerage, the problem is she's not going to want to split that commission, but that is really the best way for agents to learn. Wouldn't you agree, Lise?
So true. And yeah, I mean, the commission, she will have to split it, but I think it's totally worth it to be on a team and to have that help, because I mean, I obviously I work with my mom, but if I wasn't, I'd be completely alone and I would have no idea what I was doing. So it's totally worth it. So you should encourage her to be on a team. Find somebody good. If you need help, let us know.
Yeah, if you want, that's another thing. If you want a team, we do that too. Well, people reach out to me saying, I'm getting my license. What kind of a team or brokerage do you recommend? And we're broker agnostic. We refer to every brokerage, even though we're at EXP, and I love EXP, but not always the best agents in your town are at EXP. So yeah.
When it comes to referrals, we have no loyalty to EXP. So
I have loyalty to EXP because I love it, but we don't have that for you.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I had to relist my house after one contract expired. I have no traffic once again. Don't know what to do. Doing additional repairs to make the house attractive to buyers. I'm going to let Lisa answer this one.
What's the price? Is my question.
Yeah.
If you're getting no traffic, that usually means that the price is too high. 9 times out of 10, maybe 99 times out of 100.
Yeah. I say people say it's the market, right? Well, it's also the market, meaning no buyers see that it's worth what it is. So I would ask you, if you listed your house for $1, would it sell? You're going to say yes. So therefore, it's always the price. So any objection can be overcome by a price. So let's say you have repairs that need to be done. Okay. If you reduce the price, nobody would think you needed repairs to be done. Does that make sense? You think, Lise, does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah. Price and presentation. It really is price. And I hate to say that all the time because it sounds like such a cop-out, but there's a level where you've got to put your home at the right price point in the market for the market that you're in. You cannot control the market, right? So you have to price it for that market. It doesn't really matter what you want. And I did a video a couple weeks ago. The what if you can't sell it for your price, what will you do now? So that was two videos ago. So I would take a look at that one. Yep. And buyers love clean.
That's for sure.
That's it. I mean, a clean house, clean, like super clean. Buyers will fall all over it. Okay, great. Okay, so you're at 350. Your price is probably still too high. So you need to decide how much you really need, and if you can't sell it for that price, you're going to have to say, "What if you can't sell it?" And then you're going to say, "What are you going to do now?" Okay. Thank you for the realtor side of the stories. I thought the buyer and seller side of the story was crazy. We've got a lot of them. That's the thing I was saying, is that realtors know everything. I go into people's houses and and I've said this for a long time, you have to really, in my community, I know a lot of stories about people on the back end that they would not want people to know, like their relationships with their spouses, their financials, their children, what their children are like.
That's so true.
And you have to really hire an agent that is respectful and confidential. If you get a yippy agent all the time, you never know who they're going to tell. And, Lise, you see this a lot when you're talking to agents too, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, what do you mean? About what we were talking about?
Yeah, just talking about people's stories.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to be very careful about who you choose. Like pretty much every time I go into an appointment with both like the husband and the wife there, there's something about their relationship that I observe that I understand is like a confidential thing that shouldn't be shared. But I mean, so if that happens to me and I haven't even been in the business that long, like I can't imagine the agents that have been in the business 30 plus years, what they know about everybody in the town, you know? So you have to choose your agents wisely because they really observe like your real family dynamics, even if you don't think that they do. We
Yeah.
definitely can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just important to note. So Freebird I mentioned to the realtor, she said it's a good price. Then she is, I'm going to guess, not very experienced. So I've been seeing this quite a bit lately where it's weird. The sellers are thinking they need to reduce the price and the agents are thinking no.
Yeah.
And
I've
are
been
you
hearing that
seeing
too.
that?
Yeah. From a few
So
people that we've talked to.
yeah. And you know, when you realize your price is wrong, you got to reduce it right away. I mean, it's gotta go down very, very quick. So you can reach out to me certainly confidentially if you want, either on Facebook or just shoot me an email and let me know. Okay. You referred an agent to us in West Virginia after my sister passed, and it ended up being the same agent who found the house for her. She sold the house before listed for above asking price, no contingencies. Yay. That's a good story. Awesome. Um, okay. My adult son lives us Asperger's. His man works. He grew up here and is so attached to the house. He wants to win the lottery so he can stay. Yeah. This guy he did not have Asperger's. He was just kind of a jerk who slammed the door in Lisa's face. Right.
Oh yeah.
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 Okay. So I want to do a couple more things here. You guys know I have my Facebook group, which you can join. It is a private group. No realtors allowed. If you're a realtor out there, I will not let you in. I know we've had a few in there, but just because I want to make sure that it's a comfortable group for sellers and buyers. So we had this come up as a paint example in the Facebook group, and I just wanted to show you because she sent them to me of before and after pictures of paint. And I thought this was a really good uh, example of looking at the before and the after with the paint and how your eye in the yellow, it's kind of a yellow mustardy color, your eye goes to the walls more than the other one. Are you watching where your eyes are going on that one? I just feel like it's a interesting picture. Hold on a second. And this is another one that they did. Can you guys tell the difference? What do you think, Lise? Can you tell the difference?
Totally. I think
Yeah.
it looks a lot better. It looks more open. It looks, more modern, I guess. It looks updated. It looks clean. In that last one, I liked how they also removed that carpet from the front entryway so you could see the wood.
Yeah, agreed.
It looks good. And the tablecloth that they removed.
That looks much better too.
It looks
It's
so
just
much
these
better.
little things can make a big difference. This one's almost similar, but they painted that red there.
Yeah, I think that looks better too.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, this is somebody had sent this to me asking me if, these are kind of like red flags. And I just wanted to go through and see if these are red flags and just talk to you about it. Okay. He's nice enough, but he always looks like he slept in his clothes. What do you think, Lise?
Yeah, I think that's a red flag. I for sure think that's a red flag.
The reason I'd call that a red flag is because he doesn't understand presentation.
Yeah.
Like that, if he doesn't understand his presentation, he's not necessarily going to understand your presentation that you need for your house.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Again, his personally is unique, strong enough that it could put some people off. Is that a red flag? What do you think, Lise?
That's tough to say for me. I think it's in, I think for me, it's good to have a strong personality as an agent because you need to be a strong negotiator and you need to represent your clients well, but there's definitely a fine line that you walk between being strong and coming off poorly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I kind of agree. I don't know if it's necessarily a red flag because I'm a pretty strong agent. I think the thing is that a strong agent needs to recognize when they're overstepping or when they're making other people feel uncomfortable. So if he's just strong and kind of is not aware of his environment, I could see that as being a problem. But I know I'm pretty strong and confident when I go in to a listing, and I like agents that know what they're doing and they're confident. It just depends on how they deal with their surroundings. Okay.
For sure.
He never showed us comps or gave us a real pricing strategy. Red flag?
I mean, I usually, whenever I go into an appointment, I always offer the comps, and I do think it's somewhat of a red flag that they didn't give a real pricing strategy, because there's just, when you're talking about price with people, there's just so many questions you have to ask to understand like what they want to get out from the house in terms of like price and terms and like what they want that to look like. And so I think it's almost impossible for me to like go in and like fully understand the client and not give them some sort of strategy. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah. And I would agree on that. I always have a strategy with my pricing.
Yeah.
When I'm pricing something, I am very clear on what I think the house is probably worth, in the current market, what its appraised value is, and where we need to start based upon how long they want to be on the market. So I think that's a red flag for
Yeah.
sure too.
Because
He
then
did,
they don't understand you or what you
yeah,
want if they don't give you a strategy for how to deal with it. So
I would agree. Didn't offer a single suggestion on maintenance or staging. Red flag.
yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think, it's tough sometimes when I walk into houses. I don't want to be like overbearing with the advice that I give. I always kind of like ask, is it okay if I like talk about things? So, but I usually always give something. Like I don't really
Mhm.
ever walk away and I'm like, oh, the house is totally fine.
Right.
You know.
I would agree with that. We had to ask him for a copy of the contract. He never offered it. So this signals to me that he doesn't have a lot of systems or processes. So that is a red flag. Like, our systems and processes are pretty clear. He may not have an electronic way of signing and he may not have somebody following up. So I'm going to say he doesn't quite have a lot of systems. He wants to hold open houses every weekend. I mean, that says to me, and I don't know about you, Lise, but that says to me he's looking for more clients. Is
Yeah,
that what?
also that he just doesn't have much other business if he has the time to hold an open house every single weekend. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against open houses at all.
yeah.
Um, but any agent who's been in the business a long time knows they're not the end all be all, and a lot of times they're used to get leads for agents. So not sure about that one.
Yeah.
I think it's a conflict of interest. He has a vested interest in keeping our price high because it helps his own value. So he lives in the neighborhood. And I would say that's not really a red flag because you don't know for sure that's what he's doing. He may just not know what the price should be.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. So
I think there's a lot of other context that we would need
yeah,
to understand if it was.
absolutely. So, what we say is that we want an agent to have 150 deals in the last 5 years, unless they are luxury agents, then they're not going to have that many. So I just want to show you guys how we actually do this. And Lisa, chime in here because this is pretty much what we do all day long is, we're looking at agents, we're talking to agents all day and reviewing them as well. So we've got a pyramid that we kind of look at and what's most important. And I didn't mention Mia also helps us. She's been with me about 3 years too. And she knows all you guys as well, too. So the first thing that we look at is professional experience. And so we're looking on different websites to see how many transactions they've had. Now, the problem is that some sites are not always accurate. Like we always think, well, there could be stuff missing, or maybe they're not on this site or something like that. Lisa, you want to add to this one and how you're finding these people?
Yeah. So, like Katie said, we usually look for at least 150 transactions in the last 5 years. That's buying and selling. Usually, I like to see at least 15 to 20 listings in the last year because I want to make sure they're a full-time agent, in addition to some buys, and I want to make sure that they're more like a listing agent. So the numbers are important, but I mean, sometimes we just don't really know, to be honest. Depending on the area, you just can't tell. So there's other things that we go by if we can't find those numbers.
Yeah, so sometimes we end up in more of a rural market where, the top agent in the town has only sold like 60 homes and has sold 58 of them in that town. So yes, we might refer that person. I mean, Lisa, would you refer that person? Would you choose somebody like that? I just don't feel like they have enough total experience, even though they know the town. So
Yeah.
we're kind of going, the total experience is more important than the local experience, but we're trying to get a good balance for both. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes if I see that situation, I'll refer two other agents that are a little bit further away who are more like us and who have more experience probably. And then I may decide to also refer that top agent in the town if they also meet like some other criteria. Like if their pictures are good and their marketing website looks good, then I might choose to refer those three agents because then it gives the seller a choice and they can pick
Mhm.
those three.
Yeah, so we're looking at their marketing, their online presence, which means how do their listing photos look? Like that is a deal killer.
Yeah,
A
it is.
That I mean, if we go to that agent's site and there is one listing that looks bad,
Yeah.
if there's one listing that looks bad, we most likely will not refer that agent.
Yeah. If their photos are bad, it's a no. Always.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So we look at team support and communication, and this is important. And this is something that, so I wrote a book about teams, real estate teams. I've been a team leader. I've tried to build a great big team. I had a great big team. I now have a small team. So I understand the different dynamics in teams, and I understand, the communication and the support. And when you've got a lot of agents on a team, what does that mean versus just like another listing agent or a buyer's agent? So, I mean, and Lisa, add to this too. I feel like we're using a lot of different things about their team from their website to see how they actually function. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
for sure. Yeah. I like to see like somebody like Katie, maybe like two people like me, and then a transaction person, maybe like a marketing person. That would be like the ideal situation.
Yeah. And buyer agents are different than listing agents. Now, a buyer agent can be the same as your listing agent, but if we're looking for a buyer's agent outside of the area, we have a little bit different criteria. It's not the same criteria, which we can talk about. So the last thing we kind of look at is their honesty and professionalism. And you can kind of get a feel for through their copy. Like if they've taken a long time with their copy and you can tell that it's written well and it's professional. I mean, Lise, what else do you think about that? Like, that's a hard one to say honesty from online, but
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like our communication with them, I mean, when they get back to us immediately, that's huge. I like that when they have an email signature. I like when their email is not a Gmail or like a Yahoo. It's like a branded email. I like when their website is like a custom domain. I don't love when it's like a Keller Williams website, so there's a lot of things.
yeah, if they're
Honestly, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say if their website is like the back end of like their company domain.
Yeah.
So if they're just like like a Keller Williams with their name on the end, I don't love that because they are not showing their professionalism in buying their own website. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we'll refer agents like that if, their photos are really good and their numbers are good and their reviews are good, because I know, okay, they're a solid agent. But if I'm looking for like the ideal agent, that would not be ideal to me.
Exactly. So a lot of things go into this when we're looking for agents. So these things here, this is our responsibility. Like this is what we are going to give you when we're giving, the names of agents. That's our responsibility. You have one job, really, once the agents come to you, and that's going with your gut, hopefully. So like we go with our gut too, but we're not meeting them necessarily in person. But I will tell you, there are some agents out there. So every agent that we refer, not every agent, a lot of agents think we are not real.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of referral companies out there that try and get agents to pay to be in their referral network. And so there are a lot of these companies that will text you like constantly. Like I just got one today. Katie, I have seller leads in this zip code. All you have to do is pay whatever it is, $75 a month or whatever it is. There are lots of different things. So whenever we're reaching out, text, phone, and email, these agents are thinking we're not real many times.
Mhm.
So then we have to follow up numerous times with them, but we're seeing how they're responding to us too. So if they're like total jerks to us when we're trying to give them business, we don't refer them. Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't you say that happens quite a bit?
For sure. Sometimes people are super rude to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have a do not refer list and we'll just put them on there and we will
Yeah.
not refer them ever.
I had an agent. Oh my gosh, I had such a hard area in New York. This
Yeah.
was 2
This
weeks
one was
ago.
crazy.
2 weeks ago. And so I get on first we tried texting and emailing and I couldn't find the type of agent that I wanted. Like I couldn't. So then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get on the phone. I'm going to call a couple people. I called this woman and she was so rude to me. And I said, I have a listing referral for you. Are you interested? She's like, I don't believe it. Why are you giving it to me? Why aren't you giving it to somebody at EXP? I said, well, because I look for the best agents in the specific market. I said, are you one of the best agents? She goes, of course I am. I said, well, so now I'm like, okay, now I'm like, all right, whatever. She had her managing broker call me back and he was so rude to me. And then he hung up on me. Like,
Yeah.
so we're getting this before you guys get this. So that person is on our absolutely do not refer list. So anyway, we just want you guys to know that there's a lot that goes into getting agents when we're finding them for you. We have some exciting news. We're finding buyer's agents too. We always have, but we now are prepared to accept that. Now we have a much better system for doing that. And Lisa pretty much created that system for us to find buyer's agents. So we always can find buyer agents. If you have a listing that you're buying in the same location, we know that already. And so we're trying to find you the right listing agent who is a great buyer's agent, because you really in the same town should use the same agent. Okay. I'm going to say, right? I mean, I agree with
Most of the time.
most
Yeah.
of the time. So, but if we are just looking for a buyer's agent outside of your town, we go with totally different criteria, because buyers are a little different. You want more warmth, you want more connection, more of a relationship. So it's very important that we find somebody that's not too busy when we're referring you buyer's agents. You have any thoughts on that one, Lise?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Usually a buyer agent is going to be a little bit younger. Yeah, maybe have a few less years of experience, but I mean, if they're a good buyer's agent, they're a good buyer's agent.
And
So,
usually they're really going to need to know that community well.
exactly.
So we may not stick with our 150 deals, probably going to be less.
Yeah.
Free bird. See, just told my realtor she is going to put in a reduction. She finally agreed. That's the whole thing. I don't understand why some agents aren't willing to do it. I think it's because they're going to be proven wrong and they feel bad. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. All right. Great job. So yes, we have my seller's playbook, the Facebook group, which I want you guys to join if you need to find an agent. Okay. So let's see. Use your service to find a listing agent. Very good. so far because of you understood his strategy of pricing a house a little under the market, now in contract for 100,000 over list. That's it. Now, many, okay. So you guys know I get a lot of comments on my YouTube channel. Some of them aren't nice. Some of them just aren't nice. A little bit. I mean, I haven't gotten too many really bad ones, but some people just hate real estate agents, and I think they troll agents and they put whatever. So usually when this comment comes up, they'll say, you just tell everybody to price it too low, and of course it's going to sell. No, we want you to price it at the top end of the low part. Like you need to be strategic in where you're pricing it. We're not saying just price it low, but there's always a strategy behind pricing. Wouldn't you agree, Lise?
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll answer a couple questions. I want to sell my modest 1,200 square foot home. I refinished the 3-bedroom floors, but I did not do the living room. I carpeted. Should I refinish the floor? Okay. So there's so many questions I have. This goes into why I did my seller's playbook, because the question, it's very hard to answer in a vacuum because I don't know how much your home is worth. I don't know if you have money to do it. I don't know what your market's like. I don't know if you've got a lot of other deferred maintenance. So that's in my seller's playbook. What I get you to tell me what category you're in. So Jody, I don't know if you've done that, if you know what category you're in. So it depends. It depends. So I'm going to give you kind of a little bit of a rule of thumb is that if the carpet's brand new and if you have hardwood underneath, I wouldn't worry about it. My thought. What do you think, Lise?
Totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's new carpet, I would leave it.
Not do anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We should answer Vicky's question.
Yeah. Go ahead and can you grab it? I don't know where it went.
No. It was at 3:32 or 4:32 for you.
Oh, here it is. I got it.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Do you agree that a seller should not tell their agent what the very bottom walkaway price is after everything, closing commission, et cetera? Another agent I watched said this. I agree with that in some cases, except for my clients. And on my Facebook group. So it depends on your agent, I'm going to say, because if you have an agent who's self-accountable, I hear that and I understand that, and it gives me a better picture of the situation. So I know what to do with it. I would say it probably does make agents feel a little freer that you're not going to be really, really angry at them if they they don't get their price. So I might agree with that.
Also, I mean, it's helpful for me to know, like, as an agent, all the information, right? Like, because then we can work with you and talk about, like, what is the strategy to get the price that you want or need to get. Like, and if it's not realistic, like, then we can tell you that, you know? So I would prefer, because whatever you tell me about price is probably not going to affect, like, my vision of what I think the price is based on what I know about the market. Does that make sense?
Exactly. So we never told our agent our walkaway price. I watched Jackie, Jen, and Audra, and also is the advice. So these are other real estate agents that are out there. And I would say that general rule of thumb is that if you don't know how good your agent is.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, but if you're talking to me or Audra, you're telling us, because we understand that and are going to get you the highest price and work with you as a team. It all depends on your agent. If I know that information, it helps me plan a better strategy. So that was a great question. Thank you very much for that. All right. Do we have more questions? Let's see. Congrats. I hope his appraises for over amount. Make sure your contract states that they can bid to pay the difference if it doesn't appraise, so they can't walk away either. Yeah, so Vicky is a very good student for sure.
You're very educated. Yeah.
She is. I mean, Vicky, how long have you been with me? You know, so she's a very, very good student and knows that I talk about this. And if we have enough time, I'll get to the appraised versus market value. I do want to go into a couple other things here. Lisa, if you see any more questions, you can maybe put them up there.
Mhm.
All right. So I want to show you this. I want to show you this here because this is a surface shine house. If you download my seller's playbook, you know that I have 5 categories in there, and that helps me understand if you should put money into the house or not. Okay. I thought this was interesting because this is actually one of my sellers. This was a seller horror story. And it was a surface shine house. Now, it looks pretty good, right?
Yeah. it
Okay,
does.
so for those of you who don't know, surface shine is the middle of the road one. It is the usually the mechanicals are not updated, like a roof or AC or things like that, but then they've spent money on making the place look good. Okay, so you can see that this place looks pretty good, right? They have new countertops in there. I mean, the paint looks pretty good, right? That looks okay too. You can't really tell that this was extremely dirty, very, very dirty. You can't tell. And then there was this big, long room addition that they had. And it was kind of like, that's kind of interesting too. But then you get into the bedrooms, which were all painted. Look at the paint on the walls. All paint, right? But what do you see here? What is this? And what is this? And what is this? What is that? Every single outlet did not have an outlet cover in this house. Every single outlet. Like, why would you go through all the trouble of putting new countertops on, painting the whole house, and then not finishing it and not cleaning it? There was like dust over the whole house. 89 showing, 7 months on the market. That's a long time. That's a long, painful time. When adding those last little outlets or those last little detail or having it cleaned would have made a huge difference. And we were on because he wanted his price, you know. So actually we started that, I think, at 589. We ended up reducing. We ended up at 519. We finally got an offer and we took a deal at 495. But here's the thing is, had we been priced at 500 from the beginning, he would have made more money. He was willing to take less than 500. Had he told me that he was willing to take less than 500, I would have said, then you need to be priced at 500 and you're going to get above 500. Does that make sense? Here, Brian says, if you refer an agent, do they pay you a percentage? Yeah, this is a great question. I get a lot of hate about this too. And we are very clear. We get paid a percentage from the agent when you close. Okay, the agent should not be marking up their commission in order to cover that. They should not be. Some might, but generally they don't. It comes out, it's just like a marketing fee for them. You do not pay us for this. And I am very clear on this in our documents and everything you sign and fill out as well. So it's a percentage that comes to us upon closing. So I do share that with people. Let's see. Vicky said, I've been with you a long time, about a year, and the place isn't on the market yet. Trying hard though. Yeah, that's good. That is awesome. So after I sell this house, I will need a buyer's agent. Well, then you know who to call to. You know to go to
the right place.
the right place. So, okay. So let's remember, we got our resources there. I'll go back to that at the end. But okay, we have 11 minutes left. And I'm going to go over this real quick. Your seller's playbook is awesome. Thank you for all the work you put into it. Thank you. I am working on my book. Sell your home fast for more money, stress-free. It will be out May 5th of next year. It's going to be a New York Times bestseller. That's what I'm going for.
Mark your calendars.
Mark your calendars. It could be out a little sooner, but I'm almost halfway done with it. And it's sort of based on the seller's playbook, but it's more stuff. So I'm very, very excited about that. I'll let you guys know when you can pre-order. I hope that you'll all pre-order and support me. New York Times bestseller is what I'm trying for. Okay. Strategic pricing system. I've had so many questions about this that needs to be explained all the time. Okay. So this is market value and appraised value. This is how you can understand what your home should be priced at. Okay. So there are two numbers you need to know. The appraised value is the opinion of value from an appraiser. Okay. Now, this is supported by the market data. So this is apples to apples. This is like 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, square footage, age, somewhat condition. Okay. So like if you've only got 3,000 square feet and your neighbor has 4,000 square feet, you have 1,000 square feet less. Doesn't matter if you're totally updated. I mean, it does. You get points in that other direction, but you get points taken away from that on that square footage. A market value. This is what a buyer is willing to pay based on today's market. Now, this goes up and down. Okay. Now, I know Trump is pushing very hard to get those interest rates down, and as agents, we're crossing our fingers because we want those to go down because the market is kind of stuck. You can't control this. Okay. If those interest rates go down, the market value could change. Okay. If there's no inventory, your market value could go up. If there's a lot of inventory, your market value could go down. So you need to be aware of your market value. And this is why you talk to an agent in your local market. Okay. I can talk to you generally. All these other agents can talk to you generally, but it's only by talking to that experienced agent in your local market will you understand your market value. I can guess, but it's those agents that know. So appraisals are really, really important. Okay. So the bank is going to verify the value of the home. They need to know how much the home is worth on paper. And if the appraised value doesn't match the contract price, the buyer most likely will not be able to get a mortgage for that price. So going back to that one question that we had about the offer, which was $100,000 more. That's why you have to understand what the appraised value and what the market value is. Okay. So that agent, I'm going to guess, came in and said, well, I think we're going to appraise at, let's say 600. I think we're going to appraise at 600. Okay. I think we should list it at 550 because the market is hot now. Let's say, I'm just making this up. Market's hot. Fantastic. That's great. So you list at 550, you get a 650 offer. So now what you know is that the appraised value may not come out to be 650, right? It's going to come out to be 600. So there's a $50,000 difference in there that the bank may not loan to the buyer. So when you are accepting an offer and you know that you have gotten an offer that's over the appraised value, you have to either write out that contingency, the appraisal contingency, or you need to have an appraisal gap. This is very confusing. Okay. So that means that the buyer has to bring additional money to the table in order to cover that appraisal gap. It's real. It's true. It happens. It depends on your market. Your agent will be able to tell you in your specific market if it happens. Now, if you do not appraise, if the home doesn't appraise, let's say you're at 650, the home doesn't appraise, what's going to happen to one of 3 things. Okay. You're either going to have to reduce your price to 600 so the buyer can buy that. The buyer's going to have to come up with the additional money to cover that gap, or you're going to go back on the market. Those are pretty much the only 3 things that you can do. So that's why you don't want to be stuck in a position where you have taken an offer higher than the appraised value of the home without understanding what happens if it doesn't appraise. You can do it. And if it's a cash deal, don't worry about it because there's no appraisal. And if it's a cash deal, do not let them write in that it is contingent upon appraising. So that's why it's really, really important. So when I get people who say, well, I want to list my house for $1 million and it's only worth 600, it'll never appraise. And I'll tell them that. I'll say, listen, even if somebody pays you for this, it's not going to appraise. So the deal won't actually go through. Did I explain that clear enough, Lise, you think?
Yeah, it's very confusing. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So the market value is the price that a buyer is willing to pay in that current market. Now, we can all remember COVID times. There was no inventory, then there became inventory, right? So the values went crazy because there was no inventory. People were trying to get out of the city or whatever. I mean, you can look at Florida. The market value right now in Florida is different than it was during COVID. So that is nothing you can control. That market value is nothing you can control. But if the market is going down, if the so let's say you've got 6 months prior in the appraisal and it says the house is worth 500,000, but the market is going down. The problem is your appraisal says 500 and you're thinking, well, that house right down the street sold for 500, so we're 500. Your local agent is going to tell you, well, you know, the market's actually going down, so your market value is lower than your appraised value. So you need to know these two numbers for sure. So I know that's kind of confusing. I talk about it a lot. So a buyer won't want to buy a home if the house does not work for their lifestyle. Okay. If like there is just some things that they will not pay for it. So if you have something wrong with your house, let's say you have a really weird layout, somebody's going to be like, I literally will not buy this house for anything. Okay. Nothing. So you need to understand that affects your market value. So if you're in a bad location, that affects your market value. Even if your next door neighbor sold for a great price, if you've got a retention pond right in your backyard, that is going to affect your market value. You can't look at your next door neighbor's house and say, oh, we're apples to apples. No, on a paper, you might be apples to apples, but your market value is less than your appraised value. No. So these are the reasons why a buyer might be willing to pay more than the appraised value. If they need to get in right away, the inventory is low, they want to lock before interest rates go up, maybe. The location is perfect for them. So if you have a house that's like perfect, you will get a higher market value than an appraised value, okay? And they may pay less if they see there's a lot of inventory. Take a look at Florida. That's what's happening. The market value is going down. The appraised values are still somewhat high, but the market values are going down. Okay, so you can find out the values, of course. You ask a local agent and you can do your own research. It's hard to do your own research. I can kind of do it for your market based on Zillow or based on homes.com, but it is hard for me to do it. So when you say things like, should I do this or should I do that? It's hard. I can dig in a little bit, but I always want you to know and have an agent locally. Okay. So, and your list price can make or lose you tens of thousands of dollars for sure. Like I said, here are your free resources. So we've got the seller's playbook, which is going to give you the condition, my Facebook group, which is free and fun. We're fun. I only had to kick 2 people out.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I had somebody there very, very upset. He was not happy with the group and everybody got all upset with him. We do get, you know, it's hard because people are putting their, you know, we allow you to post anonymously if you don't want any, you know, personal feelings or feedback on that. So we allow you to post anonymously, but, you know, it's hard sometimes because people are like scared and they don't know what to do and they're putting their lives up there, you know, like, can you look at my house and tell me what you think? And some people have been in the group a long time and they're like, oh yeah, it looks terrible.
You need to do this and this and this and this, and this is what Katie says. And
yeah, it's funny because I get, especially Vicky there is good at saying, well, Katie says, so I think that's great. But this is one of the reasons why, you know, I just want to guide people a little bit more than other agents. I don't necessarily want other agents to come in and start trying to sell them or make people feel bad or things like that. So I'm pretty good at making sure feelings aren't hurt. I try to make sure they're not hurt, but yes, feelings get in the way.
that is so true.
That is very true. And very happy with experience with you and agent you referred. He priced a little under appraised value, condition not great, but still inventory low here. So few comparables, bidding more. See, that is awesome. All right. So let's see. We are perfect. We are almost finished. And I just wanted to promote it on social media. Oh, thank you very much. So anything else that we want to talk about? Anybody have any questions or anything they want to share? We did a full hour. That was good. I kind of kicked that out there, right, Lisa?
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, I know. I asked Lisa. I only asked you like 2 hours ago if you wanted to come on this.
Yeah, that's okay though. We had a good conversation.
Yeah. So we love you guys. Like really, truly, we're here for you. If you have any questions, reach out. For us, we want to make sure that you are able to sell your home fast for more money, stress-free and without trauma. And we'll do whatever we can to help. All right. Thanks,
Thanks.
Lise. All right. Bye,
Bye.
guys. See you on Facebook.